here we go. Hey, yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to your favorite MMA sports betting channel, Bros Talk MMA. Now, before we get into the AKAs and all that good stuff, let's just address some things right off the bat concerning last week. I think that there's no better way than to sum it up. There's no reason to, draw it out or, let's just get straight to it. And I think that there's no better way to explain it than the way my brother put it. And if you would please share with us your feelings on last week.
Players fuck up sometimes.
There you have it. Now, let's get into the show. Bros Talk MMA. I'm your host, Utica, undeniably the illest cat around, a.k.a. Mr. Make This Pick Real Quick. I'm here with my bro host extraordinaire.
It's Ray Bucks. It's Ray Mysterio. It's Chikel Jordan. It is the Parlay God.
Say it again.
It's the Parlay God.
Yes, indeed.
Black Moses and Black Nostradamus. Let's make it happen.
We're here to cover the UFC Fight Night card between Jack Hermansson and Joe Pyfer. It's a 14-fight card, so let's get things kicked off with the first fight in the bantamweight division. We got Daniel Marcos going up against Arichi Lang. Marcos is an undefeated fighter, currently 2-0 in the UFC. They got 8 wins by knockout and 7 wins by decision. They're currently on a 21-fight win streak and are primarily stand-up only. So, I'm going to be going with Marcos in this fight. What do you got?
I'm going to also go with Daniel Marcos as well. You said it, I think, best with a 21-fight win streak.
Perfection.
No one's whooping him. So I don't see any reason why Lang is gonna whoop him. You know what I mean? I'm trying not to be as mean to people's names anymore, but fuck his name, bro. Like whatever the dude's name is, he's gonna get his ass beat.
Some things to note about Arichi Lang: they have 36 fights in total. They're currently 3-3 in the UFC. But it looks like primarily they lose by decision, which I feel like Marcos definitely is more than willing to, take things into the third round and beyond. Arichi Lang, does have some takedown prowess, but they're primarily a stand-up fighter too. So, I just think that this is one for Marcos to win. Arichi Lang definitely could, catch a flash knockout or, maybe put homeboy on wobbly legs and he may not be able to recover or something like that, as the fight goes on. But I got this one going for Marcos. Next up, we got a featherweight bout between, so we got Hyder Emil going up against Fernie Garcia. Fernie Garcia is coming in on short notice, so that's something to note here. Emil is undefeated, making their UFC debut. Wins by KO. They got 3 wins by decision and 1 sub. 8-0 overall in their record. I'm gonna go with Emil. What you got?
I gotta go with Emil as well. He is undefeated. He's 8-0 right now. Garcia's lost his last 3 fights. So I don't see any reason why Emil can't take this one home. Probably in the second round is what I would call.
Yeah, let's see here. Emil does got a 3-inch reach advantage. Garcia, although somewhat well-versed, I just feel like they're not quite UFC caliber, maybe yet. Not to say that they won't be, but this is them doing a favor, for their previous shortcomings. And, I think they'll be ensuring themselves another fight down the road. I just don't think they'll be winning this fight, that they're taking this weekend. So going with the mill. All right, next up, we got a bout in the light heavyweight division. We got Zach Pyelga going up against Bogdan Guskov. I'm going to go with Pyelga in this fight. I mean, that's probably not the popular decision, even though currently he is the favorite. I do believe that line's going to tighten over time, maybe even flip-flop by the day of the fight. But Pyelga is 1-2 in the UFC. 2-3 in their last 5 fights. But what I see personally that makes me feel like they can win this fight is that they're a decision machine. So I just feel like if they can weather the storm early from Guskov, who, you know, definitely has a very threatening offense, I believe that if they're able to weather that and start, you know, making this more of a clinch and or wrestling affair, they can wear on Guskov, and definitely if this gets to the ground in any sort of way or goes into those later rounds, I just don't see Guskov having the gas tank to actually, you know, be able to win this fight. So I'll be going with Pyelga. What do you got?
I'm going to go with Bogdan Guskov. I think he's just got the more experience out of the two fighters. I think this really is a coin flip type fight. But based on that, Zach Pyelga has only gotten into the game about 5 years ago because he was trying to lose weight. Mm-hmm. Happened to join an MMA gym, thinking it would be a great way to do that, and then, you know what I mean, ran into Curtis Blades and other people at Shouts Out at Elevation. Mm-hmm. So I just think that the ring experience isn't there for Pyelga, but I think it'll be a good fight, and I think either one of them's got a puncher's chance for sure.
Who are you going with?
I'm going with Guskov.
Okay. Some notes on Guskov. They are 0-1 right now in the UFC, but that fight was literally a debut against Volkan Ozdemir. So, I mean, I feel like, if anything, that says a lot about Guskov and what they think he's capable of coming into the game. So, like I said, you know, I think that he presents a threat early on, but if he ends up getting into that second half of the second round and, you know, onward into the third, things could get dark for him. But they are 4-1 in their last 5, barring that loss to Ozdemir. They are a KO artist and got 12 of their wins coming by way of KO. So this isn't going to be easy for Pyelga, which is why I believe they need to take this to the ground. They need to get this up against the fence, because if not, all that's going to do is just give Guskov more opportunities to just send things Pyelga's way that, you know, I don't know if their chin is going to be able to withstand once or, you know, a few times over in this fight. So sounds like this is going to be the first one you and me differ on, but, you know, may the best bet win. Let's see here. We got a welterweight bout between Jeremiah Wells going up against Max Griffin. Wells is 4-1 in the UFC, very well-rounded. They got 5 wins by KO, 4 submissions, and 3 decisions. Even though I believe both fighters are coming in at 37 years old. I just feel like with that wrestling prowess and that ability to take things into the later rounds, Wells will most likely find their way to a submission, if not just a very dominant victory, controlling Griffin a majority of the fight. What do you got?
I think Wells is definitely going to win this one. He's just a more aggressive fighter, more explosive fighter of the two. They both have heart, both have gas tanks. Griffin is definitely a good fighter. I just think Wells is going to be able to overcome that with a little bit more explosiveness and aggression. I do believe Wells is going to take this one down.
Yeah, Griffin, some things to note. They're 7-8 in the UFC. 2-3 in their last 5 fights.
Hold up. Wait, what?
They got power, and that, you know, early on, Wells is going to have to protect their chin. Wells has been, you know, chin before, so they just got to, you know, weather that early storm again. And I believe once they're able to, make this more of a grappling affair, wear on Griffin over time, that power is going to, become less and less threatening. And eventually it's just going to be in Wells's world. Let's see, 9 wins by KO, 2 wins by submission, 8 decision victories. So, I mean, the reason why I say, because you hear that and you're like, well, what are you talking about? Him, potentially getting taken into those later rounds and it getting dark for him. Well, it's something to note that they also have 9 losses by decision. So it's not necessarily gonna be him and Wells, just slugging it out going into, the final 10 seconds of the third round. Like, I believe that Griffin is going to wilt, especially under the pressure that Wells presents. And, I'm going with Wells in this one.
Sounds good.
All right, moving on. We got a light heavyweight bout between Devin Clark going up against Marcin Prachnio. Devin Clark is 8-8 in the UFC, 2-3 in their last 5. They got 9 wins by decision, 4 wins by KO, and 1 submission. I feel like this is, a battle of like 2 guys who are somewhat just like, middle of the division type guys. I'm not even going to say like ranked, but just middle of the division, just good for a prelim or, the beginning of a main card, but just haven't really been able to get over the hump. I'm going with Clark in this fight, but, this one could go either way, but I just believe Clark, has more of what it takes to grind this one out. What do you got?
I also agree with you. I'm going to go with Devin Clark. I think he just has a little bit better cage control than Prachnio has. Prachnio. Than Prachnio has. He's a little bit more aggressive than Prachnio. And again, they are, like you said, middle of the road guys, lower middle of the road guys more likely. But I think Devin Clark will get this one done, probably in a decision victory. You know what I mean? It'll probably go all 3.
Some things to note, Prachnio's 3-5 in the UFC, 3-2 in their last 5. They got power, so, that is what the equalizer will be in this fight for them, is that they could catch Clark on the chin. They got 11 KO victories, 4 decision wins, 1 submission. I just believe that when it comes to, actually having to, grind out a fight, because I believe this will most likely go to decision. I just feel like Devin Clark is the one who's going to control that pace to make it that kind of fight, whereas Prachnio is going to be looking to try and, end it, and I just don't see it happening. So going with Clark on this one. Let's see, we got a strawweight bout between Luma Lukbumi going up against Bruna Brazil. I'm going with Brazil in this fight. I actually believe that they're a live dog. Go ahead and sound the alarm. I just feel like they're going to be more physical with Lukbumi. And as long as they can get past that Muay Thai and make this more of a grappling affair, I feel like this could definitely go in their favor. It just depends on whether or not they decide to actually, be aggressive, and not just point fight and or, try and showcase their skills. Like, they need to, turn on that killer instinct and just come in here in this fight. Lukbumi is 5-2 in the UFC, 4-1 in their last 5. So, this isn't going to be a walk in the park. They actually did win their last fight by submission, albeit against an opponent who isn't all that great on the ground. But Brazil's 1-1 in the UFC, well-rounded, and I just believe that if they can close the distance and, make this more of a dirty fight and or, a grappling affair, they should be able to grind this one out against Luke Boomy. What you got?
I got to go with Luke Boomy. She's just got little tree trunks for legs. She's a Muay Thai fighter, kicks hard as hell, and I just don't think that Bruna Brazil's little stick legs are going to be able to hang with the kicks that she's about to get. She, what was it, Elise Reed? She fought last, Luke Boomy. She had a big ass welt on her thigh from one kick, and it was brutal. It was ugly. So I just don't think that Bruna Brazil is going to be able to hang in there with that action coming at her.
No, if this is primarily a standing affair, then yeah, I feel like this is going to definitely be Luke Boomy's night. But, I'm going to be going with Brazil. Once again, may the best pick win.
I will.
Coming up next, we got a lightweight bout. This actually was a short notice fight, after being, booked in the card. Just last night, this became, a new bout. So we got Timothy Kuamba going up against Bolaji Oki. Kuamba, they're making their UFC debut. They are on a 5-fight win streak, but they're coming in on this fight short notice, which I don't think is the best idea. They're primarily a stand-up fighter. They got 4 wins by KO, 4 decision wins, 0, ground game. They've actually lost by submission, whereas Oki, making their UFC debut, is on a 8-fight win streak. They got 5 KOs, 2 decisions, 1 submission. I think that, I'm not going to say they're like well-rounded necessarily, but that I think presents a threat to Kuamba, that knowing that if this goes to the ground, it's most likely not going to play into their favor. Oki also has a 2-inch reach advantage. I'm going with Oki. What do you got on this?
I'm going to go with Oki as well. They're both aggressive fighters. They're both violent fighters. I think the needle leads a little bit towards Oki. But what really sold it for me is the fact that Kuamba is coming in, a few days before the card. So I don't know if he's managed to stay in fighting shape. I'm not sure what his weight cut's going to look like. I think he's just doing the company a favor to stay in the good graces. I think it'll still be a great fight, and I think it'll be a spectacular finish. But I've got to go with Aoki on this one.
No, you actually bring up a good point. Kuamba, they're technically a featherweight fighter. So the only reason why they're even coming in to fill in at 155 pounds is because they're not at their regular fighting, weight and or shape. So, yeah, that also presents some concerns as well.
For sure.
So, yeah, definitely going to be going with Oki in this one. Moving on, we got a welterweight bout between Trevin Giles up against Carlos Pratis. Giles is 7-5 in the UFC. Very well-rounded. Got a ground game, but primarily like to stand up. They make good use of their jab. They're 2-3 in their last 5 fights, but they do got 6 KOs, 5 submissions, and 5 decision wins. Pratis, this will be their UFC debut. They're currently on a 7-fight win streak. They got 12 wins by KO, 3 submission wins, and 2 wins by decision. I feel like this isn't necessarily like a setup fight for Pratis to, get boosted into the forefront. But I will say if they're able to pull this one off, then yeah, definitely they're going to start seeing a fast track. And I feel like Giles is just like one of those dudes that he presents a tough enough challenge where it justifies the results after going forward.
Yeah, and Trevor Giles he's just a UFC journeyman, right? Like he's been in the game for a while. He kind of just again another middle of the road fighter. Can hold his own. Got a decent gas tank, has some heart. But I just don't think he's gonna be able to stop Pratis because Pratis is a killer, right? 7 KOs, 3 subs, 2 decisions, 7-fight win streak. He's going to push the pace and he's going to make it happen. Whereas Giles just kind of always maintains a medium pace throughout the fight. So I think Pratis has this as well. Takes his fight.
All right. Now, let's see. We're moving on to the main card. We got a middleweight bout between Rodolfo Vieira going up against Armen Petrosyan. I feel like this one's pretty clean cut. It's kind of crazy, to be honest. As of this recording, Vieira is the favorite, which I thought was kind of wild. But, I feel like definitely their ground game presents a threat to Petrosyan, who doesn't have any wins or losses by way of submission, which doesn't say that they don't have any ground game, but it doesn't say they have any either. So definitely if they can keep this off the ground or, away from grappling in any sort of way, keeping this on the feet definitely goes in their favor. Vieira's got the ground specialist, 8 wins by sub, 1 KO win, 0 decisions, so they're definitely going in there to finish or be finished. The only time they have gone to decision, they lost. 3-2 in their last 5. Petrosyan's 3-1 in the UFC, 4-1 in their last 5. They're primarily a stand-up fighter, like I mentioned before, with 5 wins by KO, 3 decisions, and like I said, 0 submissions. Once again, I'm pretty surprised that they're the underdog going into this fight, but I'll take it. I definitely put some money down. What do you got?
I gotta go with Petrosyan as well. He's fighting out of what was it called again? Out of the Academy MMA in Russia. And his teammates are wild, right? Akonov. Let's see. Magomedov. What, bro?
I mean, I'm just ready to hear you rattle off some of these names.
I mean, they're wild, bro. We'll just say it's a bunch of Dagestanis with a bunch of Dagestani ass names, and so my man's is with the right camp for sure. That being said, I don't see any reason why he's not able to take down Rodolfo Vieira. That's all I got for you.
You could have just said that. You could have just said, I don't really got much on these guys. I'm going with Petrosyan.
I'm going with Petrosyan.
All right, moving on. We got a lightweight bout between Michael Johnson going up against Darius Flowers. Johnson's long-standing vet, he's 13-15 in the UFC, 2-3 in their last 5, with their last loss being a devastating knockout. They do, however, have 9 wins by KO. They're primarily stand-up fighter, 10 wins by decision, 2 submission wins. I just feel like they're weathered at this point, and that chin is, pretty fragile, for lack of a better word. Flowers, although they're 0-1 in the UFC, they are 4-1 in their last 5 with 8 wins by KO, 3 decisions, 1 submission. So I feel like they can win this fight wherever it goes. If they stay standing up, I believe that, he could knock out Johnson. If it goes, all 3, I feel like they'll probably put the pace on Johnson. And then if it goes to the ground, I mean, that's probably where this fight becomes a toss-up more so than, anywhere else. So I'm going with Flowers. What you got?
I'm going with Flowers. That's my lock of the night. I don't see any reason why he doesn't beat up on Johnson. Johnson does have an impressive record with the numbers that you rattled off earlier: 9 wins by KO, 10 by decision, 2 by sub. I think they're a little. How is that? They're throwing you. They would throw you off, right? Just hearing them, because those KOs were earlier on in his career, for the most part. They're obviously sprinkled on in there throughout the later part of his career, but it's more of those decisions that you're seeing. Whereas Darius Flowers is currently knocking motherfuckers the fuck out. So I don't see any reason why Flowers doesn't take this one down.
All right, we're both going with Flowers. Moving on, we got a middleweight bout between Brad Tavares going up against Gregory Rodriguez. I'm going to be going with Tavares in this fight. They fought, the who's who of the division. They're 3-2 in their last 5 fights. They lost most recently, to Dricus du Plessis, who's currently the champion. They've lost to Izzy. They're not losing the bums out here. They're 15-8 in the UFC. They got 13 decision wins, 5 KOs, and 2 submissions, which means they're some pretty well rounded. I just feel like if this is again one of those fights where if he can just weather the storm from Rodriguez early, the longer this fight goes, it's just gonna play in Tavares' hands. He'll start just laying more pace on this guy, and eventually, I just feel like Rodriguez is gonna wilt, and eventually melt. And yeah, Rodriguez is 5-2 in the UFC, 3-2 in their last 5 as well, with 8 KO victories, 4 submissions, and only 2 decision wins. So once again, longer this fight goes, I just feel like it plays into Tavares' hands, and I feel like he's seasoned enough to be able to make it go exactly that way.
Well, I'm hoping that it doesn't go that way, because I do think Gregory Rodriguez is better in the first couple of rounds, and that's who I'm hoping to win. I think you're exactly right. If Brad Tavares is able to weather the storm through the first round and a half, you know what I mean, he's far more likely to win than Gregory Rodriguez at that point. But he's got to make it through that first round and a half. Mm-hmm. If he doesn't, Gregory Rodriguez is probably going to knock him the fuck out.
Rodriguez does carry power through the fight, but I just feel like, the volume goes down immensely as the fight goes on as well, opening it up for Tavares to just keep peppering shots in and, maybe even taking it to the ground and just, breaking Rodriguez down in that regard too.
Which is quite a bit of a possibility, but I'm still going with my guy Rodriguez.
That's 3 fights there. All right, moving on to the last fight of the prelims.
Hold up. Wait, what?
Real quick, bro. This is already the main card. You said the last fight of the prelims.
Oops. My apologies, folks. Yeah, I got main card tucked in right over there. Oops.
We even did the thing.
My fault, folks. Yeah. Well, this is the last fight going into the and main event fights. My apologies.
There you go.
There we go. Once again, we got Ihor Potieria going against Robert Brysik. Middleweight bout. I'm gonna be honest. I just think that this is basically a showcase fight for Brysik. They didn't even have to go through the Contender Series. They just got signed on straight from wherever they're at. Potieria is 1-3 in the UFC, 2-4 in their last 5, and although they're well-rounded, I just feel like their resume doesn't speak any sort of type of volumes to me. I just feel like this is just somebody for the UFC to serve Brysik to, get them into the mix and start fast-tracking them. And, this will be Brysik's UFC debut. 5-win streak right now, 11 KOs, 5 decisions. They're not really trying to take this to the ground. This is a showcase fight.
Sure. Basic wins. I don't really think I got to talk too much about that. I think it's pretty clear.
All right. Well, that's that. All right, folks. Moving on to the co-main event. We got a featherweight bout between Dan Ige going up against short notice fill-in Andre Fili. I'm going to be going with Ige in this fight. I just believe that not only have they been training this entire time for this fight card, but they're just the better fighter. They're 9-6 in the UFC, very well-rounded. All their losses are only by decision, so that means that they're making these battles regardless who it is, if they're not finishing the fight. They're 2-3 in their last 5. Their most recent defeat came at the hands of Bryce Mitchell, which, you know, that dude, he gets his hands on anybody, he wraps up anybody, you know, it's going to get dark real soon. You got Fili coming in, like I said, on short notice, and they won their most recent fight in December against Lucas Almeida, which, you know, that's cool, but I just don't think it's Dan Ige level. They're somewhat well-rounded. They got 10 KOs, 10 decision victories, and 2 submissions. They've been in the UFC for a while. They're 11-9 in the UFC alone, and you know, I don't know. I just don't feel like they're going to win this fight. I feel like they're just doing a favor more so than anything.
Yeah, I got to go with Dan Ige as well. I think these are very well-matched fighters. I'm going with Dan Ige based more on the fact that this dude's coming in on short notice, kind of last-second shit. I think given the exact same amount of time to train, I might be a little bit more flip-floppy on it. But that short notice shit, that just showing up and fighting shit, there's definitely a negative aspect to that, or an uphill battle doing that. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Dan Ige as well. I think they're very similar fighters. I think they're very evenly matched as far as what their specialties are and their abilities are. But short notice is what kills it for me.
For sure. All right, moving on to the main event of the evening. We got a middleweight bout between Jack Hermansson going up against Joe Pyfer, Dana White's guy. Be like Joe Pyfer. You know, that's what Dana said, you know. How's the man? Well, he was, you know, going through an injury, you know, and was feeling at his lowest. You know, Dana saw something in this dude and provided him another shot, and this guy has been running with it since then, you know. So I'm going to be going with Pyfer in this fight. Some things to note on Hermansson. They're 10-6 in the UFC. Very well-rounded, but primarily a ground specialist. Their losses, although they got 10 KOs and 7, you know, subs and 6 decisions, a majority of their losses also come by KO and decision. So, I mean, I feel like unless he's able to get it to the ground, things start to get dark from there on, unless he's facing a less, you know, skilled striker or just somebody who melts, you know, going into the later rounds. I don't believe Joe Pyfer's that guy. For instance, Jack Hermansson recently lost to Roman Dolidze, and we just saw Roman Dolidze last week, right?
Yeah.
Enough said.
Dickhead.
Joe Pyfer, 3-0 in the UFC since making their debut. Stand-up fighter with a decent ground game. I believe that's what they're going to use, is just, you know, good ground defense, you know, just to keep from getting taken down, keep this on the feet, and eventually knock Hermansson out or just punish him fucking for 3 rounds. They got 8 KOs, 3 subs, one decision victory. Like I said, they're not really going in there to, make this a long-standing affair. They're ready to fucking get in and get out. And, they're on a 5-fight win streak. Yeah, I just feel like they're the bigger, stronger fighter. And Hermansson is just going to have a tough time unless they just, employ some type of technique within their grappling that, just Pyfer isn't, familiar with or able to get around. But what do you got?
I mean, Hermansson to win this fight would really have to just get it down to the ground early and maintain ground control throughout the fight. That's how he's going to win. He's not the better striker. So I just don't see him being able to do that. I think Pyfer is good enough with the ground and good enough takedown defender to kind of avoid that strategy. But that's how Jack Hermansson would win. I got Joe Pyfer in this one. I think he wins it fairly easily. 5-fight win streak. Dana White's guy. Like, what more is officers, I say.
Boom. Well, there you have it, folks. Looks like me and bro are going with Pyfer. Yeah, that's going to be it for our picks for this card. Real quick, who you got for parlays? You want to make a quick, parlay god. You ready to redeem yourself?
I am.
All right.
Actually, I really am.
All right.
Let me see here.
Let's go through some names here.
We got to hit up, I think we got to use my lock of the night, right? So we've got to go with Darius Flowers. First and foremost. Probably Brysick. And then I got to go with my girl, whatever her weird-ass name is.
Luke Boomy?
Luke Loma. My girl Loma.
All right, so you got Luke Boomy, Flowers, and Brysick for a 3-pick parlay. If
That's
you're trying
my 3.
to spice it up.
I'm getting mad spicy out here. I'm going to go Petrosian, Pratis, and Oki.
Okay.
That's what, 6? I hit you with the young 6-banger?
Yeah, you upped it on them for sure. Let's see. I'm just gonna, keep this real simple. Definitely gonna say, I'm gonna go with Petrosian, Brysick, and Pyfer.
Okay.
And then if I was gonna spice it up, I'm gonna say Jeremiah Wells and you know what? I'm gonna put your boy. No, I'm not. I'm gonna go with Tavares. And Ige. Boom. There you go.
Okay.
That was like a little fiver.
Is that a fiver?
Fiver for you, And then dark horses, we got Bruna Brazil, Armin Petrosian, Brad Tavares.
Petrosian is probably the best one out of all that.
Yeah, those are going to be my dark horses. And, lineups, there's not, not a lot of people on here. I would say you got to, like Pyfer, Brysick, if you can get them in there on the same card.
Flowers.
They're going to be, you know what? I don't even think this fight, Potieria and fucking Brysick's even on like DraftKings for lineups. There's actually a couple fights on this card that aren't listed for you to pick from. But definitely going to have to put Pyfer in there. Definitely Jeremiah Wells.
I'd say Flowers.
Pratis, if you can.
Luke Boomy. Loma. I mean, I know that's not your girl, but if you could get her cheap.
Yeah, that's you know, everything else kind of up in
That
the air.
Petrosian probably is the best, though, because you're probably going to be able to get him cheap since he's the underdog.
Yeah, no, definitely. But, yeah. So, this has been another episode of Bros Talk MMA. I'm your host, Utica.
Whoa there, bud.
I'm your host, Utica, undeniably the illest cat around, a.k.a. Mr. Make This Pick Real Quick. I'm here with my bro host extraordinaire.
It's Bray Bucks, it's Michael Jordan, it's Bray Mysterio Jr., it is Black Moses, Parlay God.
Yes.
And pretty soon y'all be calling me Black Jesus after this fight.
I feel good about this one. It was a little tough at first going through it, but then once I made my way through, you know, I started realizing like I feel pretty good about, you know, with my picks and, you know, where I believe this card is going to head to.
I think I feel good about this one, but I really felt good about the last one, so I'm not sure how much that speaks
Hey,
to what's going to happen.
That's in the past. That's in the past. We're only looking forward. You know, once again, I'm going to post somewhere as I'm talking right now. You'll see something about our overall records. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, share the channel or the episodes. Much love to everybody that's been viewing so far. We really appreciate y'all.
I would really say comment, you know what I mean? Tell us where we're fucking up, other than like our picks, because we know we fucked up. But, you know what I mean? Something you'd like to hear or see or have us do. I'm not saying I'm taking all requests and making them happen, but I definitely like to hear what your thoughts are.
Yeah, definitely. Follow us on social platforms. You know, got my bro here, r1.mason on Instagram, Utica_SME. Hey, this is gonna be a late upload. It's been a busy week. Your boy is actually opening up for Talib Kweli. So, you know, once again, if you haven't streamed any of my music on any of the streaming platforms, make sure you go do that. Check out my YouTube. And yeah, you know, fucking good luck, happy betting, and this, you know, I'm seeking redemption, you know, so all you motherfuckers, if you get in the comments or just have viewed and had something to say slick on the side.
What did you say, nigga?
Just make sure you keep that same energy come next episode.
Absolutely.
Until then, we out.